Hello and welcome back to Mirror's Signal podcast, your weekly podcast sponsored by Knowledgeably Instructor Training, award-winning CPD providers. Make sure you stay tuned to the episode for your discount code from them. Today's episode, we are joined by Carl James, a recently qualified ADI from Nigel Richards Driving School. In today's episode, Carl talks about the job and how he's finding it and some of the challenges that he came up across working as a driving instructor. We also talk about his qualifying process, how he managed the PDI license while trying to maintain a full-time job. So some good insights from that aspect, working one job as a PDI and trying to work a second job elsewhere and the challenges that he faced. We also talked towards the end of the episode about some of the lifestyle and health changes that Carl's made since becoming an ADI. So, some good information around the job and how we can look after ourselves. If you're enjoying these episodes, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button or follow wherever you're watching or listening. If you would like any more information from me or the show, you can find me at Mirrors Signal Podcast on Facebook or in the Facebook group. For now, we will get on with the episode. I hope you all enjoy.
Yeah,
Carl, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very
It's
much.
pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming on and yeah, being willing to come on and share your journey to becoming a driving instructor. I've
Mm.
noticed the teacher already, Nigel Richards Driving School, so
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a plug there for one of our
I
previous
think I,
guests, two of our
I,
previous guests.
I think you'd
Um,
lynch me if I didn't have this T-shirt on.
gotta get that. I'm gonna edit it out just for Nigel.
It was either that or my Wrexham shirt. I couldn't decide which one.
So how's life being as a driving instructor for you?
Brilliant. Love it. It's one of them jobs that I wish I'd done years ago. Looking back, I should have done because I've known Nigel since, well, 25 years. I actually passed me every goods with Nigel. I passed me class two with him. And looking back, if I had a bit of a crystal ball now and said, can I be a driving instructor? I would have done, but it's been a long process because it's like I said, it started. I've known like 25 years, and then about 10 years ago, I think it was. I come to him, I said, I want to be a driving instructor, and I had a couple of lessons. Started a couple of lessons, and I thought maybe not. I didn't really gel with me, and then. I know it sounds bad, but one of the best things that happened was COVID because things changed. Everybody was sitting at home. I was in work because I was a fuel tanker driver. So I was sitting on the roads going down the M6 with one car in front of me and two trucks, and it was brilliant. And then my daughter turned 17, my eldest daughter, and we got a car for it. Little Renault Clio was a cracking little motor, and she only had it about 2 months, and then COVID hit. So it was a case of because she got it instructor, she got Nick Roberts, but obviously couldn't do any driving, could they? So she said, "Oh, you want to keep up with that?" I said, "Oh, I'll take you out." I said, I used to be like a trainee instructor when I was working for in the fuel, so I thought well, can't be that difficult to teach him how to drive, can it? So for about 18 months until she was allowed to have lessons. I took it out and we did some lessons and we had some tears and tantrums and me thinking I was doing the right thing, teaching how to reverse around the corner and 3 point turns and all that, and think that I didn't know what the rules would be then, did I? And I thought, this is what I want to do. I really want to do this. And I phoned Mr. Richards. I said, I want to be a driving instructor. He said, I've been waiting for this for a long time. So I met him in Costa for the coffee, and in May 2023, and signed on. And never looked back. Absolutely love it. And I try to help others as well. You know, if anybody say, "Why do you want to be a driving instructor?" I say, "You got your own freedom. You can just take your holidays when you want. You can, if you want to book a day off, you just book a day off. You haven't got to ask anybody. There's no holiday forms to fill in, and they can't say, "Oh, well, you can't have this day because so and so's off." Or it's just the freedom you've got. It's just brilliant, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Is there anything else that you love about it? The freedom's great, but what other aspects of the job do you enjoy?
Um, I've never been a people person because I've always sat in a cab with me own and the radio. So I've never actually communicated with anybody unless I've got out the cab and delivering fuel, and but that's like one on one. It's just the geographic side of it. I didn't have any issues at all with it. I thought no, but since I've started, it's just the camaraderie you get with the pupils. It's like they're like they're a lot of them are kids to be fair, like but I've got a damn good bunch of pupils and they're brilliant, and you can have a laugh with them. I call one a goldfish because you got to be. You go down a roundabout and you say, "Take the next left," and she said, "Which way are we going?" I said, "Just told you, next left." So I just called it a goldfish because you got a head like I said, but it's it's just the person, it's just like it's just the way they are. It's brilliant. I just love the job. It's one of them jobs I wish I'd done years ago, but I'm glad I have now. I think I'd regret it if I didn't for years.
I think that's something to be aware of for people is it's definitely a people person job,
Yeah,
and you've got to be able to build that rapport with a client
yeah.
quite quick to make it work. It's not a driving job. It's you've got to be a good people person.
Yeah, I think it helps because I've got two daughters. One's well, she's 20 and 23 now, so they're at the same age group as what they were, like my pupils. So I think it helps with that because I can relate to that age. Like one's a drama queen and the other one doesn't care less, and that's what you get with the job. Sometimes oh yeah, I can't do this, and the other one just says I'm going for it, isn't it? So it's getting to the personalities to them and having a not being serious. Obviously, you got to be serious about it, but not too serious. Having a laugh and a joke about things as well. You can't just sit there and just be quiet about it. But it's the other stuff that they don't teach you that I really enjoy as well. It's like when you become in the city, you go for your path. You went straight onto green, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't. I went to pink. So I had 6 months on a PDI license, and so it's the training, the teacher. Okay, they train you to be a driving instructor. So yeah, what to do in that? It's the other stuff they don't teach you about ADHD, autism, dyslexia. I've never heard of half of them. But I've got one pupil with autism. I've got about 4 or 5 with ADHD. I actually found out one that I've been teaching for about 7 weeks, and one week she's brilliant, and the next week she was struggling. And I said, there's something there," and she said, "It could be my ADHD," and I never thought about ADHD because normally ADHD, like you can see the symptoms, can't you? But it's just learning different things. It's stuff that you never heard of before. I've heard of autism, of ADHD, but I'd never heard of the other things. You adapting to different people, how you adapt to different people and the ways they are, and a massive help has been Julia. When I signed up to that Patreon and I listened to it and I think that's what I need to do. This is what I need to do, and it's because obviously when you first have something, I remember I messaged her and I said I've got this young girl with autism, not a clue what to do with it, and she did say this is what you need to do, and she said just download the Patreon and listen to this, and if I go for the run, I'll just stick it in my headphones and listen to her talking, and I think yeah, and I can relate to stuff. It's really really helped me. I think we're having a meeting with her in June, like a team meeting with her. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So when you see her, say thank you for me.
I will do. I'll be speaking to Julia tomorrow, obviously not tomorrow when this goes out.
Mm.
Um, But what I will do, because you've mentioned it, this wasn't an intentional plug for Julia, but yeah, her membership that I help her with on Patreon, I think it's fascinating for
Oh,
driving instructors. There's a lot of videos. You can find it on Facebook, or the membership is on Patreon, and it's just Talking Send with Dr. Julia Malkin, MBE, or drop me a message and I can send people the link. But the amount of knowledge there, and until I started working with Julia, I thought I had a rough idea because I'd had quite a few students with autism and ADHD. But there's so much more to it and the way we can help. And it's made a huge difference in my lessons because now I'm not really waiting for things to play out and then be on the back foot. We can kind of see what's happening. And that is something that I don't think you can do too much about in training, really, because there's so much that you need to learn to become a driving instructor. And that it just takes hours and hours and years to understand
oh
all
yeah.
the different types of people that we're going to come across. But I do think it's important that people are aware that are coming into the industry or are fairly new to the industry that every person's different,
Oh,
and how we manage that comes from, like you said, it's that knowledge and experience that you're building and then being able to tailor it to the pupil that's sat next to you at that moment in time.
yeah. I remember last year, Richard, his name was, a cracking lad, and he got in my car and he said, I can't drive a manual, I can't drive a manual. And he's had 3 driving instructors and they've all said to him, you never pass your test. And I thought to myself, I'd only just started then, I was still on the PDI license, so I was like wet behind the ears as well. And I said to him, I said, why have they told you you can't pass your test? Oh, I just panic. I said, what do you panic about? He said, the gears. I said, okay then, let's go in your car. And he had an automatic. And we had lessons with him. And first of all, it was a panic at first, like, because I haven't got the pedals. I'm thinking, what am I going to do if anything happens? But he come out of his shell and he actually passed his test with 1 minor. And I tell you what, that made me the happiest man alive for that year. I thought, if I don't do anything this year, he's passed his test. And it just been, honestly, just, I was so, it was, I like when they passed, but that one was like, that was at the top of the tree. That one was there. It was like everybody had told him, you never pass your test. And he passed with 1 minor. And that was like massive achievement to me. It's like, I can do this job. Every day is a school day, is what my dad used to say. And it is. You don't get 2 days the same.
That's something that I do find. I mean, we're happy when everyone passes their driving test, but we do have those driving test passes that just stand out, either because of the person or because what that pass means to someone's life and
Yeah.
their quality of life. Like when you get, I had one student who was pregnant and needed to pass. So she was putting all of the work in and got the pass. Another one, it opened up doors to better employment. Like once he'd passed, could get himself a car and then could go on and get the job that he wanted. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's an extremely rewarding career, but then you get the standout passes where it kind of makes some of the difficulties of this job and the stresses of being self-employed, and like you say, you don't need to tell anyone when you're going on holiday, but
You
you're
don't
not
get
paid
paid
for
for it
the
either.
holiday.
You
You
don't
don't
get
get
paid for
paid.
it either.
So yeah,
So,
you have
it swings and roundabouts,
situations.
doesn't it?
Yeah, and it does make it worth it when you're like, I've really helped this person move on to like their next stage in life, I guess, where they can go and get the career that they want or
Mm.
go study or have freedom for their children,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah. It's I've got um, I've had pupils. I've still got pupils now, and they say, "Oh, I can't do this. Why can't you do it?" Well, I just can't do it. I said, That's what I'm interested in the chimp paradox and all because remember Nigel was talking about it, and I say, well, that's your monkey talking, that isn't it? And we're getting to name the monkey, And they would say, "What's your name of the monkey?" And half the time it's like, they call it me, Carl. Or they'll say their best friend or something. And I say, and they say, "Oh, I can't do this." And think, "Well, it's your monkey talking that. Where's the monkey want to be? In the box." And let's put it back in the box. Why is it out? And the chimp paradox helps as well. Like I've had a couple of lessons Nigel sat in, and I've had pupils. I remember one girl. She's got a test next month. I'd only had 2 hours with her, and she just had a meltdown. And I phoned Nigel. I said, "I need some help with this girl." And he took her out and I sat in the back of the car, and I was thinking, that's what I need to be doing. He was just sitting there, and she was so calm, and she was doing stuff, and she drove home, and I thought, that's what I need to be doing, just being, just get them to think themselves, not think for them. So, when you make a mistake, you say, "Oh, how could you do that better? What could you do next time?" But does it always work like that? They've got a mind of their own. Like if you get somebody coming out of a roundabout or something they're too slow coming out of the roundabout, and you got a car coming at the side of it. How could you do that better? You need to put your foot down. How would you do that next time? So it's like getting them to say, like the 3 C's, I suppose, cause, consequence, correction, and it. We all know that. But like, why are they doing it? What's the reason for it? And then you just sit there and listen to them, and half the time the stuff they come out with, "Oh, there was a car behind me rushing me," or something like that. It's just amazing. The things that come out with is just unreal.
It does. It does really interest me understanding that how people think, because I've been doing the job 4 years, and you tend to think, I know what's going on now. I know what they're thinking, but you still pose the questions and you dig a little deeper. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, I didn't have a clue what they was thinking, but now I know because they've told me.
Yeah,
I can help.
yeah, yeah. You've got to sit there and listen to them, and if you're sitting there for 5 minutes and just listening to them, just do it, because it's going to help them. It's going to help you in the long run.
The chimp paradox, was that something you was aware of before becoming a driving instructor, or
Never
did
doing.
Nigel introduce you to it?
Oh, it's him, Nigel. But it works. I mean, I'm not as keen as he is. I mean, he'll live it. I mean, he's chimp day and night with it. But I have read the book, and I've took, it does help me in a way with understanding lessons as well. So I'm not an avid fan of it, like he is, but I sat on a train one day and read it, and then I thought, yeah, it does work. It does work. It's it's getting that mindset, and it just little things that I picked up in the book, like when they, "Oh, I can't do this," and yes, you can. You can do it. What's the chimp thinking? So I remember one lad, he was having a bit of a meltdown, and we had a chat about it, and he's flying now. I think he's got his test in June, I think it is. And when he first got in the car, he couldn't even turn the wheel. He was that scared. But no, he's doing brilliantly now. He's a cracking lad and all. But it's we have a good laugh with him. I mean, I wouldn't go too far. I know where to toe the line, but like I say, oh come on, you're better than that. And what's the matter with you today? Or some, have a bit of a joke or something with them. But so they know I'm not being serious about it. But you can't be serious. You're a teacher, but you're not a teacher, if you know what I mean. You're not a school teacher. You said sit down and do as you're told. I mean, I don't know what it was like when you passed your test, but it was a case of we were told this to do that. When we did that, we did this. When we did that, we did that. And when I was on my test, I was like sat there, and he just sat there with a shirt and tie on, with a board, and I was petrified, absolutely petrified. Never spoke to me. And now I like about the way they are in Wrexham, you can have a chat with them, and you can have a conversation with the test examiners, and have a laugh with them as well. So it's nice. There's like that, there's that banter as well. It's still serious. Don't get me wrong. It's a serious thing, but it's not over serious. There's a bit of you can relax relax the pupils. So it's nice that way.
I don't remember an awful lot about my learning to drive, if I'm honest. I remember failing my driving test twice because I was so nervous. Don't remember much of my lessons. I remember bits of it was very much do this, do that, and you'll pass your driving test. These days, it does seem a little more informal. I know it's
Mm,
still to the same standard, but I had a test this afternoon and the examiner, great, chatty, having a chat. After the test, we ended up talking for a good 15, 20 minutes, me, the examiner, and my pupil, because I was sat in the back watching the test. So there is definitely changes being made. I think it's for the better. I mean, they
yeah.
don't have to be this shirt and tie and silent and firm to assess to the same standard. I don't think that makes a big difference. What matters is what they're looking for out of the learner on the drive.
Mm,
And when you say about the learners as well and the way we build rapport, I I've got different personalities for different learners because I've got some that want that more, I guess, what's the word, more disciplined routine,
yeah,
more
yeah,
teacher approach, but I've got
yeah.
some that is more borderline having a laugh in the car with a
Mm,
friend, but still achieving learning.
mm,
And it comes back to what we spoke about at the beginning. It's that it's a people person job. We've got to know how to interact with these different people. We're going to have a different approach for a confident young person than we are a nervous, kind of
mm,
reserved person. The approach has got to be different. And
yeah.
we've got to pick it up quite quick. You
Oh
know, we
yeah.
can't, if we take too many lessons to build that rapport, the learner's not going to be all that interested in the lesson. So I think we've
Mm,
got to be on the ball with understanding the learner and how we can fit in to help them.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I always like when they first get in the car, I say, well, why do you want to learn to drive? What's the reason you want to learn to drive? And if they say, oh, my mum and dad want me to learn to drive, you're sort of on a back foot straight away because it's not what they want to do. It's like me youngest daughter. I tried to get her to learn to drive and just wasn't interested. She had two lessons. No, it's not for me, this dad. No, not interested. Anyway, last year where she works, they closed. Not permanently, just like a temporary thing. So she had to move to a different department, and it was about 40-minute drive, and she was picking lifts up and that. And she said, "I'm sick of this." She said, relying on other people to to get lifts and that." I said, "Okay." She said, "I want to learn to drive." So, oh, okay. Will you teach me? I said, "Yeah, I'll teach you. Of course, I'll teach you." And I taught her, and she passed the test a couple of weeks ago. But it's what she wanted to do. Like she's not interested. She's 20 now. She just passed the test. When she was 17, didn't want to know. Not interested. And they've got to want to learn. Otherwise, I think you're on a bit of a back foot if they say, "Oh, my mum and dad want me to learn." So it's more hard work then when they say, "Oh, well, I want to learn to drive so I can get to school, or I can get to college, or I can get to football, or I can get to that." So when they get in the car, I'll say to them, "Why you want to learn?" And they say, "Well, what's your hobbies? What you do?" And sort of picking up from that, and that's how I sort of work my lessons around what they like. If they're footballers or if they're rugby players, say, where does that, if you come to a roundabout, where would you be if you were attacking that plate or something like that? And sort of role play it in a way. It's a bit so it's nice. You get a bit of background from them, and I always tell what I'm doing as well. So it's like not just one way as well. And I say, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. I say, what are you doing this weekend? And you have a nice friendly conversation with them, and I think it relaxes them and all. But if it's they always get in the car saying, "Well, I'm nervous." What are you nervous for? Well, never driven before. I said, well, neither did he around the corner, but he learned. So, and we'll get you there. And after the first lesson, I said, "Oh, I enjoyed that. What you enjoyed?" But well, I felt nervous, but it was okay. It was good, good. I'll see you next week. Yeah, okay then. And that's it. You just got to relax them and how they react with you. Sometimes you get something, and you don't get anything out of them. Yeah, no, yeah. They're the ones that are pulling teeth, basically. They're hard work. They are hard work. When you're not getting anything back, it's like, how am I going to teach you the best way I can? But you persevere. But I try to get a personalisation straight away. Don't just say, "I'm your driving instructor. This is what you're going to do." It doesn't work that way. You've got to be interacting with them.
Yeah, and using what they know really makes a big difference. And I try and any of their hobbies or what they're studying, I always try and link that into the lesson.
Mm.
And one that stands out at the moment, when you mentioned about they've got to be motivated and have a reason to want to learn. I've got one, and I don't think he really sees the benefit of learning. He doesn't need to drive, but he's being told to drive. He's had a couple of different driving instructors, and he's studying to be a plumber. And from his experience of previous lessons, he's been trying to do everything. He's like, I just can't do MSPSO, and he's just really overwhelmed with it all.
Mm.
And that's exactly what I've done. I linked it back to his plumbing course. I'm like, well, teach me how to plumb. What are you doing at the moment, and what's the end state? And we started talking about that. And then the link there was, I was like, at the minute with your driving, you're trying to plumb a full house, and you don't know
Mm.
how to connect the pipes together. You don't know how to bend the pipes. You don't know what pipes are going where. We need to isolate it. Like you do at college, you'll start with a simple task of how to use the tools. Let's learn how to use the tools. And now we learn this, and then we do this, and we build it up. And when I broke it down in its simplest form, the driving, but linking it to what he knew and what he was doing, he started then seeing the links for himself. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, so I
Mm.
need to get this right. And then we can act. I'm like, yes. I was like, we can't do a full house until we know how all the little pieces fit together and
Yeah,
we've practiced all of this. And then before you know it, you've done the house, but you don't start with a house. And he was like, oh, okay. And now he's starting to come out to lessons and he's more motivated. I don't think it's the motivation now to get a driving license. I think it's just he sees, okay, I can learn, I can put this together.
mm.
So let's keep making that progress because they often see people driving on muscle memory.
Yeah,
And when we're learning, it's like, well, people get in the car and they drive without thinking. So
mm.
yeah, but we can't do that yet. We need
Yeah,
to get it to its simplest form. So there are definitely challenges, but I think when we understand that person, whatever that person is and however they work, it makes our job so much easier.
yeah, yeah. If they got time for you, I've got time for them. That's the way I look at it. It's if they're not interested, then usually they'll have one lesson. I'll say, oh, I don't know what I'm doing next week. I'll speak to you, and you know for a fact you're not going to hear from them again. Which it's up to them. It's not it's I can drive. I'm not really bothered. But no, it's when they say, oh, when's our next lesson next week? Okay, right, what we doing next week? We'll work on what we've done today, and I do on a scaling. So I'll say, how was your observations today? And they say, no, not brilliant. Okay, what would you give yourself on a 1 to 5? 1 to 10, sorry, I'd say a 5. Why are you a 5? I was looking in the interior, but I didn't really look in the left and right that much. Okay, so what would you like to get to? What would you want to get to next week? 7. How are we going to get there then? Okay, I need to look at my mirrors and just say, what help do you want off me in that? And then we'll set that as a goal next week. So we'll scale it so we know what we're going to do next week. I know it's in your pathway and say about the scaling and that, but I sort of break it down as well. So I had one lad was a chef last year, and he was struggling with MSPSL. And I said, when you're baking, do you put everything together and just mush it in? He said, no, we have to do it in ingredients. I said, that's what you do when you're driving. I said, your ingredients. I said, your mirrors, that's your flour. Signal, there's your eggs. When I position, that's your milk, and I just broke it down that, and he thought, yeah, that makes sense. That does. I was like, do it. what they can interact with, really, isn't it? And it does work. So if you break it down, instead of just trying to do it in one big lump and making a mess, it sort of helps them. So
Makes it relatable, doesn't it? Because
yeah,
they've now got a reference of something that they know and how it's all going to fit together.
mm.
We've gone off on some some good tangents there. I'm going to bring it back because I know you wanted to talk about your qualifying and how you found that. So why don't we talk about that for a little bit? Your
Okay.
training. How did you find the training to become a driving instructor?
Training was really good, 1-to-1 from day one. It did be part 1, part 2, part 3 with Nigel, and it was never this, like some schools, they'll put a headset on you and you listen to it online and that, and it was none of that. It was all 1-to-1. And I remember the first time I got in the car with him, and I thought I could drive here. I'm a truck driver here. I've no issues here. I can drive big Arctic fuel tankers and that. I've got no issues. And he got in the car, and half an hour later, absolutely slated. You're driving like a truck driver. Well, that's because I am a truck driver. Yeah, but you're not a truck driver anymore. I said, okay. Like, he absolutely hammered me. And I come back, and my wife said to me, how was it? I said, horrible. I said, what do you mean? I said, I thought I could drive. But now Nigel's saying, he's put in my mind I can't drive. But from day one, it was the training was brilliant. So I did 1-to-1 and passed me part 1 first time, thank goodness. Because I was, and then took me part 2 in Chester. To be honest, it wasn't that long. It's not like it is now. It wasn't months and months and months. I think it was about 2 months. So I think I passed me part 1 in June, and I passed me part 2 in August, and I literally scraped it. 6 minors.
Oh,
Yeah, I was nervous as a kitten. I was really nervous, and I was doing things that, looking back, I think, why did I do that? When he said I passed, and he said what he passed, and I thought, I wouldn't normally do that if I'm driving, though. It's weird how your mind changes when you're sitting there with an examiner. Now, because obviously you know you can drive because you've got a license, and somebody's telling you that you can't. You're doing it wrong. And yeah, I literally scraped the part 2, but pass is a pass. That's the best way to look at it, really. And then I did my 40 hours training with Nick Roberts and a bit with Nigel, and I went on my PDI in 2023, and I was still working as well, which didn't help. So I was still working as a truck driver and doing this. And when it come to my first attempt on the part 3, I didn't feel I was ready, but I'd already got the date. I got the date, and I'd only quit work about 3 or 4 weeks earlier. Otherwise, I was trying to do 2 jobs. I blame Nigel Richards for this because he said, pass your part 3 and then you can finish. But so I blame him for this. But I didn't feel I was ready for the part 3. So when I went and done it, it was chaotic. Like, we were supposed to be doing clearance, we ended up doing traffic lights and junctions, and it was just a mess. I think I got 24 on my first attempt, and I said I didn't feel ready for it, and I was disappointed, but I knew for a fact I didn't feel confident going for it. I thought, I'm not gonna pass. I had an inkling. So then I went on the pink license. I had to apply for the second one because the first one ran out in June, and I had my test booked in July. And part 3, second time, keep it simple. And I did. I kept it as simple, and I kept doing roundabouts without traffic lights. So that's what she wanted to do. And it's weird because after I failed me first part 3, then you get another 10 hours, 20 hours training, I think it was. I can't remember now. And the girl I took, I was doing, and she was good. And we'd done roundabouts, and we were doing dual carriageways. And I thought, what am I going to do for my part 3 with this girl? She's doing roundabouts, she's doing dual carriageways, pretty good. And she turned around and said to me, and Nigel was in the back of the car, and I'll never forget it. She said, I don't feel confident on roundabouts or traffic lights. And I was like, thank you, Lord. I've got something to work on. And that's what I did on my part 3 with it. And thankfully, I passed, scraped again, but I got a pass. But I feel now that I'm a better instructor for it, having that little bit extra just to learn the craft, as to say. It certainly helped me because I mean, I remember doing my first lesson and on a PDI, and it was an hour lesson, and I sat there doing the cockpit drill for an hour, just teaching him how the car moves, not moving, just teaching him how the car moves. And I thought nowadays it's like 10 minutes. If it's not raining, we'll don't use the wipers. If it's not dark, we'll do the lights next time. It's like, then you get them on the road, isn't it now? And that's the difference in it. And I feel like I'm a more better trainer since my part 3. I've learned a lot more since then. I don't know whether it's because obviously you've got the shackles off. Then really, you haven't got to worry about it's your livelihood and what happens if I don't pass and that. Luckily, I still had my heavy goods if didn't go so well, but it's not what I wanted to do. I said, I'd have been absolutely gutted if I didn't pass, but thankfully I did. So it was a nice moment when she said, you passed. But oh my god, I can't. Tanya, her name was. She's a lovely woman, but honestly, she's fighting the living daylights out of me on that test. She must have been. She's a big, tall, blonde woman. She looked like a headmistress. She's like one of these public school headmistresses. Oh, honestly, I mean, me people said, "You going white?" I said, "I feel white." I said, "I can't breathe." But it's the pressure that just honestly, I felt like I've been kick. My mate took it a few months ago, and I seen him a day or so before his test, and I said, "You look like you've been kicked out of the house. You looked homeless." It's just honestly the pressure, and your stomach's turning, and you can't sleep, and it's just horrible. But it's worth it in the end. It's definitely worth it in the end. But it's just it's not nice. But the training, I cannot fault the training. I mean, you pay for what you get in iBook. You buy cheap, you buy twice. And Nigel's not the cheapest, but he's certainly one of the best ones. I mean, I've got a couple of mates in the gym, and he's learning with a driving school now. And he said to me the other day, "How much online training you had?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, how much online training do you get for your part 1?" I said, "No." I said, "We just sat in the car and we just did a lesson. Didn't do any online training whatsoever." And he said, "Oh, I haven't sat in the car." Yeah, he said, I've had a letter to go to a meeting in Manchester after the passed me part 1 to do my part 2. He said, "But I've not sat in the car to do any training yet." And I said to him, I said, "You're not going to learn anything sitting on a computer. It's not that type of job. You've got to sit in the car and you've got to learn the craft from that." It's like when the first time I went with Nigel, and he was saying about off gas, clutch down, all this. I was like, "What? Yeah, we're going to see all that." And we were going down the road, and he was saying, "Tell me what you can see." And I said, "I can see a lamppost. I can see this." He said, "No, tell me what you can see ahead of you." So I can see a bus. He said, I quiet for 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes. He said, "Can't hear you. Come on, talk to you." And it's like, "Oh my god, we're going to see you." I haven't got a clue what to say now. Now it's just it comes off. You don't even think about it. You just do it. Don't you? You're going down the road, and there's a car parked on the left. You think, "Okay, there's a car parked on the left. How are we going to deal with this?" And blah 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 blah. You just do it. It's like a semi-conscious thing, really, isn't it? So yeah,
It's missed, doesn't it, when the training is away from the car? Something that still amazes me is there's so many people that get to a part 3 and in a lot of cases pass a part 3 and have never seen a driving lesson. And I mean, I was similar. I decided to become a driving instructor, but I'd not actually watched a lesson. And I think that's really important for people that want to become a driving instructor, is that go and watch what the job is. Go and have a look at a lesson before you decide to do anything,
yeah,
because it's not what a lot of people expect. I've had a few potential driving instructors sitting in the back of my car, and they're like, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, well, it's a good job you found that out now and not when you've signed up to do training. But I would like to go back to how you managed or didn't manage, as the case might have been, your training and PDI license while you were still trying to hold down a job. Did
Mm.
did you manage that, or was it a good decision to stop the job and focus solely on this for
I
you?
think in a way I should have gone, as soon as I got the license, I should have said, that's it. Do one thing and stick to one thing. And there's a couple of lads, friends of mine that in the school that have done exactly that now. They've quit the jobs, they've gone on the PDI. One of us passed, one of them hasn't yet, but he will do that. He will do soon, and I'm very, very hopeful of it. But I don't think you can do both. You don't. I mean, I was working as a fuel delivery, and I was doing Monday to Friday, and I thought, if I got to do this job, I need to change jobs. So I changed to milk collections. So I was going to farms to pick up. It was 4 on, 4 off. And then I got my car in Blazers. I got my name on it, and I got Nigel Richards Driving School, and we got all the stickers on it. And they changed towards me. They just went so nasty in a way, really. And they were saying, "Oh, go and do this job and go and do that job." And they were sent. I mean, I remember once they sent me to Peterborough one day. I mean, okay, you can do it in the car, but when you got a truck and you've got to tip a load of milk off, you're not going to do it. And I said to him, I said, I'm not going to get back in time. Oh, we'll meet you. And he met me in Derby, and it was little things like that. Like they were having digs, and in the end, I had a massive row with them, and I just told them to stick the job. Excuse me. But I remember phoning Nigel. I said, I've quit. He said, oh, okay. You full time now? Then I said, yeah. And I said to my wife, I said, I've quit my job. And she never said, oh, what are we going to do now? And she said, okay, about time and all. That's what she said. Because you could see the pressure. I was trying to do 4 days there, maybe 4 days work and training, and I wasn't getting any time off for myself. And it was just burning me out. And I just didn't weren't able to do anything. I like going to football, I like going to the gym, and I didn't have time for any of that. And I thought, one's going to give up, and thankfully the right one did. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to go on a PDI, you can't really do both jobs because it's just impossible. You're not going to help yourself with your training unless you're a damn good driving instructor from day one. You're not going to. It's not going to help you. And I've said to that couple of lads there, I said, if you're working, I said, you're not going to get the benefit of it when when it comes to your training, because you're going to burn yourself out. And I did. I literally nearly burnt myself out. And I only lasted about 2 months, but that 2 months was a long, long time, hell of a long time. So one had to give, and the right one did. And it was just a massive relief. But then it was only 3 months before my part 3, and I didn't feel like I was ready for it because I didn't feel like I'd done enough reflection training. It's like when I took my second part 3, it's like I got the books. I'd heard about your podcast, so I was listening to that as well. And I never heard any of that on the first bit. Never had a clue what was Mirror Signal podcast or anything, or Becky Seaton or any of the great guys. I never heard of them. And somebody in work, I can't remember what it was now, they said about your podcast, and I thought, I'll have a listen to that. And I used to listen to it, and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. And then one of the instructors, he got this book, and he said, this book passed me part 1, and I think you've had him on your podcast, and I can't remember the name now. Can't remember it's Driving the Road to Success, but I can't remember the name.
Oh,
But
that's Neil Whiteman,
that's it,
Untwisting.
Neil. Yeah, Neil. And his book helped because there's like little QR codes with the YouTube channels at the back of it, and you can reflect to on that. And so that book really, really helped me with me part 3. So yeah, I wouldn't try not to burn the candle at both ends. It doesn't work.
It's an odd one because people are often told, don't leave your job
Yeah.
until you've qualified because it's not a guaranteed job until you've got your green badge. But there's two sides to that, and I don't know the ins and outs of how Nigel runs his school. But for a PDI, you've got to do your training, you're delivering lessons, you've got franchise fees, you've got a mortgage to pay, you've got all of these bills going out. And then you've got to find time to do lessons to build experience, and you've got to find time and money to do training,
Mm.
and then keeping a full-time job as well. I think forward planning for PDIs is really important. Like, what does your training look like, and how's it going to fit into the life where you can get out of it what you need to? I was very fortunate that I could teach for free,
Mm.
and I was in a teaching role anyway, so I was all right for the most part. But it's a difficult decision to make. Do I
Yeah.
quit the
Yeah.
guaranteed job and go all in with this uncertainty? Do you find a more flexible job? And I don't think anyone can give you the right answer without sitting down and understanding what's needed to
Mm.
qualify, because it's not easy.
No.
There was something that you mentioned earlier between your part 3 and your second one. I think what I was hearing from you was a little bit like the first one, you're still kind of learning the job
Yeah,
and
definitely.
maybe not quite ready for a part 3. And the way I'm understanding that now is while you're still learning, you're not going to be in the best place to help someone else learn. While
Mm.
we're learning to be a driving instructor, we might be helping our learners learn, but are we doing it the most efficient way?
Yeah.
And until we've put all of those pieces together, I think it's going to be a struggle to pass a part 3. And if we link it to a student learning to drive, they can move the car, they can stop the car, they can change the gears, but that doesn't mean they can pass a driving test. They can do the
No.
fundamentals, but can they drive on their own? And I think it's probably the same for us. Like you maybe understand how to teach, but can you do it to a standard that's needed? And I think that's where that time and experience comes in on a PDI license or teaching for free,
Mm.
to then go on and pass a part 3. It's a
Yeah.
challenge.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I've known. I mean, there's a guy in our school, and he just there's a couple that's gone straight to pink. Sorry, straight to green. But personally, me, I would have. I don't think I would have qualified if I'd have had doing 2 jobs. I don't think I would have been ready. I don't think I'd have had the time. Certainly the mental side of it as well, because it does it does fuzz your brain. It does work that way, and it's just I didn't have time to myself, and I could feel myself getting not ill, but I could feel myself getting stressed and bringing it out in at home as well. And I thought, no, I don't want to do this. It's going to end up with more issues than what it's worth. And I just thought, no, one's got to go, and I had to in the end because it's saved me marriage and everything else really. Because I was coming home, I was miserable, I was tired, I didn't want to be where I was in my other job, and I was saying to Nigel, I want to quit. Oh, just wait till you part 3. And I took his word as advice. As obviously he's the qualified, he's the experienced guy, and didn't feel like it was right for me. Might be different for other people. Like, I'm not telling everybody quit your job, go for your pink. Doesn't always, whatever suits you. You might be in a job that you can do both, but I didn't feel like I was. I was working like 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And then I was doing this as well, and then training as well. So I was having 2 days of training as well. And it sort of just went in there and out there. And it's not till I quit my job that it actually sunk in there. Just didn't work.
When you had time to reflect and focus on what you needed to focus on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was teaching people, but was I teaching them right? Was I making sure that the feet were in the right place? Were they in the right gear? Well, obviously right gear, but checking the mirrors. Was I doing it all right? And then when I had lessons, training lessons, they were saying you're not doing that and you're not doing that. I thought, okay, right, this is what I need to work on. And then I had time to work on it then because I only had one thing to worry about. And then, so when I had a lesson with Nick or Nigel with a trainee, he'd be sitting in the back, and I'd be teaching a learner, and he'd be saying, "Well, they did that 6 times before you noticed it." Right, I need to know, and that, little things like that we, like they were. I remember one lad, and Nigel was sitting in the back, and he kept doing this every time he changed gear. He'd be doing this, and it took me six attempts before I noticed it. And I think that was the difference. I was teaching them, but I wasn't teaching them to a higher standard as I should be. I was teaching. I mean, I got a few passes. I had a few fails as well, but I had a few passes. But I didn't feel like I was giving them value for money, if you know what I mean. Because obviously you're the trainee as well, so it's like a learner teaching a learner, really, isn't it? So I didn't feel like I was giving them value for money by doing 2 jobs at the same time, because I didn't feel like it was beneficial to either of us.
Was you confident that if the driving instructor didn't work out, that you could go back to what you was doing, or that there was enough work for you if you needed it?
Well, I got me heavy goods, so there's always, everybody needs truck drivers at some point or another. But I wouldn't have been happy. I just would not have been happy. And to be fair to Nigel, everybody has done a part 3. As far as I know, I passed. First, second, third time, they've all passed though. It might, some have been third time, some have been second, some have been first, but I don't think he's had a fail. So obviously I was confident of that, thinking I'm not going to, he's not going to just let me go. He's gonna help me, and they both did. Nick, Nigel. I mean, it's like I said. Now I got a PDI in the back of my car. I'm helping them. I'll say, if you're gonna do anything, sit in the back of the car. I'll listen to a lesson, and they come and say, "Oh, this is what I'm not doing. Or this is what I should be doing." Or I'll sit in the back of somebody's car and they'll say, "This is what I need to be doing." So it's, I try to help as many as I can now, because I know what it's like. And nobody asked me to sit in the back of the car when I was learning. I didn't even know anything about it. I didn't even know you could. I hadn't got a clue. And nobody said, "Oh, do you want to sit in the back of the car and listen to a lesson?" But I did know a few people. I didn't know that many. It wasn't, because obviously you're joining something new. You don't know the names and the faces and that. And but now I seem to, if somebody's new, like there's about 50 odd, I think he's got, something like that, between part 1, part 2, and part 3. And I say to him, I'm Cal. Nice to meet you. And I say, "Well, what are you on?" "No, I'm done a part 2. "Well, good. Well, how's it going?" "Yeah, good." "Okay, well, if you ever want to sit in the back of a car, just give us a shout. Get the number off Nigel, and you're welcome to sit in the back of a car." And it sort of helps them. It really does help them. I mean, my friend Jamie, I was teaching my daughter, but then he took her on his part 3, and he passed. And he said, "She's got 3 lessons for life." I said, "Well, I hope she doesn't need 3 lessons for life." But he helped her when I said to her, "I can't take it out this week. Can you take it out?" "Yeah." And she said to him, You teach like me dad." He said, "Well, yeah, I sat at the back of the car enough times, so I should be able to." I should be. But yeah, I mean, it's important to get to know the job before you actually do any tests or anything like that. I think it's important to actually sit in a lesson, if it's only for an hour or even 2 hours, and just look at it. I mean, nobody's perfect. I mean, not perfect by a long shot. I mean, we all make mistakes, don't we? We can always miss the mirrors and that, but I'm hoping that I'm pretty good to help somebody out. You know, so it's I try to help as many as I can.
We do miss things, don't we? I mean, a big part of what I was doing building up to my standards check was having people observe my lessons. So I was one of my main focuses in preparation for my standards check was watching the pupil. I need to be watching, constantly watching that pupil. And I still missed my pupil missing his interior mirror. So we can miss things, but that sitting in the back and watching a lesson is so important. You see so much and
Right.
you get a glimpse of what the examiner can see, which is why, like you've said, you offer people sitting in the back, and I've got more and more people now coming observing my lessons. And the earlier people can do that, the better. I mean, ideally, you want to watch a lesson before you decide you want to become a driving instructor,
Absolutely,
but
yeah. Yeah.
sure, it is what you want to do. But one of the other things that you've mentioned, and I'd like to touch on it a little bit because it is a risk of this job, and that is the health and fitness side of it.
Hmm.
I feel it. We sit in the car all day, 6, 8 hours, whatever it is, and it takes a toll on the body. And I know you mentioned it when we first started talking about this episode. So, the health side of it, have you made changes? I know you said you spent a long time in driving jobs, whether that
Hmm.
was delivery or HGV, whatever it was. But have you now made changes, kind of lifestyle changes, health changes
Yeah, massively.
with the job?
Massively. I mean, 2023 was a big difference to me. My life changed completely because it changed my career, but it also changed my lifestyle because we were going on a holiday and I thought I need to get rid of a few pounds here. And I was in about a size 38 waist, so I wasn't fit basically. I was unhealthy. So I joined a gym just up the road. It was one of these that's got about 10 exercise bikes, weights, all that. But I didn't have a routine. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going on the treadmill, or I was going on the rowing machine, or I was going on the exercise bike, and I hadn't got a clue what I was doing. I go on these machines and I do this and thinking, what am I doing here? I've got a clue what I'm doing. And I went, I lost a bit, but I didn't feel I was gaining anything. So I was taking the dogs out for a walk one day, and I seen this gym just down the road from me. It's called Focused Fitness. Absolutely fantastic place, brilliant. If I give them a plug, there you go. That's me month membership paid for. But it's a bit extra, but the motivational is just unreal. I mean, there's guys the same age as me. They've never been in a gym before, or they're not interested. And there's none of this ego stuff. You know, it's all everybody motivates each other. And like I said, the first time I went there, I did a session with them, and I was blowing like a train. I was like this. I did a little 300 meter run, and I couldn't breathe. Absolutely couldn't breathe. And they said, and I remember because I went there for 2 weeks, and then I went on holiday for 2 weeks, and I thought to myself, I could feel the difference already, but I know it's only been 2 weeks. I said, so I thought, I'm going to stick with this and see how it goes. And I've never looked back since. And that was in August 2023, and I'm still there. I tried to go. Well, I went this morning. So if I got a lesson at night, you know, till about because they do classes, they start at 6 o'clock in the morning and they finish at 7 o'clock at night. So it's not a 24-hour place. There's only two guys there, so they all run it themselves. But they've got they've got one treadmill, two ski ergs. They've actually got three rooms. Means just bought a new one, and they've got two exercise bikes. So it's only a little small place, but it's like it's like cardio, strength, fitness, and stuff like that. And it's made a massive difference to me. I mean, I did my first 10K start of April. I'm doing another one this Sunday. I'm not looking forward to that because if Wrexham get promoted, it's going to be a heavy night on Saturday. But yeah, so I'm doing the Wrexham 10K, but I've never done 10K before. I mean, I did it the other week and it was fine. I really enjoyed it. I'm doing, I've done a high box relay. I did that in Birmingham last year, and then we're doing a doubles in Cardiff in end of May. So I'm looking forward to that. But I mean, the lad I'm with and me partner, he's 30 years younger than me. But I feel we match each other because I feel like I feel fitter now than what I did 30 years ago. I used to do a lot of cycling. Like we used to cycle to work, and then we'd have like sponsored cycles, like Wrexham to Cardiff. We did that a couple of times, and I used to do a lot of cycling, but I don't know what happened. Just something happened. I just didn't bother with it anymore. Sold my bike, and then I didn't do anything. I just sat in the truck, sat in my car, just sat at home watching telly, just eating rubbish basically, and then you'd have health issues like stomach aches and indigestion and other issues that were affecting it. And I just thought to myself, I've got to do something about this, otherwise I'm not going to see 60 if I carry on. So I decided that I want to change my life basically, and that place has massively changed my life. It's changed me. It's a mental side of it as well. It's the mental health side of it. As this I've been going, I remember things better. So when I'm on a lesson, I say, "Oh, do you remember that red car that we nearly, we got really close to it?" And they say, "Okay, oh, the Ford." "Oh yeah, remember that now." Now before I'd be saying, "Oh, do you remember that car that we, I'd be thinking." But now it's like a mental side. It's me. My memory has got better. I mean, it's just I don't know what it is, but it's just my lifestyle's changed. It's cost me a fortune in clothes, but but I don't care. I don't care. And you do pay a bit extra for this gym. Don't get me wrong; it's not cheap, but I think it's worth every penny, without a shadow of a doubt. No doubt about it. And it's important to keep yourself fit. Like you say, you're sitting in the car for 8 hours. All right, you might get out for if you got an hour off in between, but what do you do in that hour? Get something to eat, sit back in the car. And you might go home and just have 10 minutes, have a cup of tea and that, and then you go back out again, don't you? If you're local, if you're close, and if you're not, then you find the nearest garage and find some, like a Greg's or whatever, and just have some pasty or something to eat in it. It's not really healthy. It's not the best way to be, because you're sitting there and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's where the problems lie then, especially as you get older. So that's 2023 was a massive change to my life, more ways than one. You need to keep yourself fit. You definitely need to even if you just do walking or something, you need to keep yourself active.
How do you fit that into your diary, like the time management side of it?
Basically, like I said, I'll go early in the morning if I have to, do an hour in the gym. Then I do work. Sometimes, if they got the classes at 7, I'll say I'll do a lesson 4 till 6, then finished. So I've set myself days to go to the gym. I don't work weekends now because I've done enough weekends over 30 odd years, and I don't fancy doing any more. I'll do them if they got a test coming up, but I don't physically work weekends if I can help it. So I'll go Monday night, and I'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll miss Friday, and then I'll go on the Saturday morning. So I've got plenty of time. I mean, I can, like this week, I'm only going to go 2 weeks this week because obviously I've got to run on Sunday. I don't want to burn myself out, but I try to go at least 3 or 4 times a week and do what they call like small groups. There's like 6 of us, and we do weight training, cardio, that type of stuff. And then the slightly larger groups, there's more cardio based, so there's a lot of more intense. It's like high intensity training. It was like puffing and panting and sweating like a like I don't know what, but but it helps. But it's the food as well. What I eat now to what I used to eat. I mean, like before, it'd be full of dairy milk chocolate or galaxies. Now it's full of protein bars and fuel, and just stuff like that, basically. But my body's changed, my mind's changed, everything's changed about me, and for the better, really. You need to do something. Oh yeah,
You think this job has allowed you to find that routine?
definitely, definitely. I mean, especially since I passed, because I've been able to do it for myself as well, and I get the time to do that routine as well. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the gym in the week, and then on a Sunday morning I'll go for a nice little run, just about 8-10k. Just if it's nice, if it's raining, I'll stay at home. But yeah, I can fit it into work because I tried to get my pupils to book in advance, not book in advance, like what days can you do, and then we'll book 10 weeks or something like that. So I think, right, you know what you're doing for 10 weeks. So I'm full right up to the end of May, but I'll make sure I've got room to go to the gym as well. So yeah, I've got the balance it works well. It does work well.
That's where I'm letting myself down at the minute. I've not been training for a while. It's been on and off because my days have just got longer again. And I'm
Mm,
starting to look at my diary and I'm like, where am I going to fit in my sessions? Because I'm still a member at the gym that I train at, and they do an early morning class. And I just need to put it in the diary again. I need a more structured routine with work, and I need to get back into the gym because I feel it. It's really, like you said, I just feel sharper when I'm training.
mm,
If I'm not training, I'm lethargic, and then I just want to eat bad food and sit around, not do much. When I'm training, it's like, right, let's get after it. I've got more energy, and the more I train, the more I want to train.
mm.
It's an interesting cycle with it.
Yeah, when you don't go, you feel a bit. I wish I could go in. Because I remember last May, yeah, it was nearly 12 months ago. I was doing a run and my knee collapsed on me, and I had to literally crawl home. And I'd done my cartilage, and I couldn't move. I was in agony. I couldn't go to the gym. I could work, but I was struggling. And it doesn't help when you got a manual car either.
Yeah,
So, but I did work, but I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't squat. I couldn't do weights because obviously you got to get down, and I couldn't do that. And I felt fed up with myself because I wasn't eating rubbish, but I wasn't eating healthily as I was beforehand. And when I went back after, I was off for about 6 weeks, I think it was, and when I went back, I was so glad I was back. I mean, it was a struggle. I was because I hadn't been for so long. It was a struggle to get back into a routine. But nowadays, I just think I've got to look after number one because there's nobody to look after you. You're on your own. You've got to look after yourself. And I've learned to say no as well. So if somebody says, "Oh, I can do a lesson," it's like I had one the other week. The girl at work does the lesson. She said, "Oh, I've got this girl that can do 6 to 8 Monday to Friday and Saturdays and Sundays." I said, "No, thank you. I don't need it. I've got enough to do." And I've learned to say no. Like when I first started, it was okay, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I was doing Saturdays, Sundays every day, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now I'm just like, nope, don't need it now. I'll work till 6:30 at the latest, and that's it. It's not very often, unless I'm not doing anything at the night. I'll just, so I will do something if I got a test or something coming up, and I'll say, yeah, I'll fit you in on a Saturday afternoon or something, or if I can. But I'm more selfish now. I think more of myself. It's like if somebody said to me, "Oh, can you do this Saturday?" I said, "No, because I've got the football." You've got to think of yourself because they don't care. They'll just go with somebody else. They're not bothered. And you've
do
got
need
you've got
that
to think of
discipline.
yourself. Hmm?
We do need that discipline. I've fallen short, and that's why my diaries such chaos at the minute. Anyone that listens to all of my episodes, you'll know almost every
Mm.
episode I complain about my diary, but it is just finding that balance. And I got out of the habit of saying no, especially when I get people that are messaging, like what you mentioned earlier, with additional needs, or they've had a few different driving instructors and they've really struggled. It's like, okay, I need to try and fit you in really because you've come to me and I want to help. So now I'm getting to the point where it's like, no, my diary's closed. It's closed until I've
Yeah.
got a gap that's Monday to Friday between 8 and 4. And if it's outside of that, I'm not feeling it.
No, no, you've got to be honest with you. You've got to be selfish. Otherwise, people will take advantage of you. A friend of mine, I have mentioned him before. He was working 7 days a week doing this job, and I said, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "What did you come into this job for?" And he said, "Well, I wanted more time at home." I said, "How are you getting more time at home if you're working 7 days a week?" I said, "You may as well carry on being a truck driver." I said, "If you want to carry on doing what you're doing," I said, "just quit and just be a truck driver again." And he thought about it and he thought, "Yeah, you're right. I didn't come into this job to work 7 days a week." And his missus goes mad with him when he says, "Oh, I've got somebody in this Saturday." I said, "Why are you working Saturday? If they can't work Monday to Friday, then it's not your fault." I mean, if you can, obviously if they're in college and think, right, yeah, you finish college at 4 o'clock. Why can't you do a lesson after then? So you've got to be cruel to be kind in a way, isn't it?
But that's it. And there'll be people that will work, I don't know, a 4 or 5 day week, but it'll overlap a weekend.
Mm.
There'll be instructors I would, if I didn't have children or my children when they grow up, I'll probably work like a Wednesday to Monday and I'll have 2 days off. I don't know, somewhere else. I can't
Mm.
work my maths out now, but I'll work over the weekend and I'll have 2 days off in the week
Yeah, well, that's fair
rather
enough.
than
You've got
trying to take
two
the
days off
weekend
each
off.
week, don't you? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my kids are older now. They don't need me, only for money. But it's not like they're not little, so they're independent. So all I've got is me, the wife, and the dogs. So I'll work around what she works, and just work around myself. And I think if I can fit you in, there'll be somebody else there that'll do it. I'm not. I was. When I first started, it was yeah. I'll take him. I'll take him. I'll take him. And I was doing Saturdays and Sundays and 8 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and I think that's not what I come into the job for. So that's what I say. If you're going to be, if you've got to be self-disciplined, you've got to make time for yourself. You've got to have time to reflect, really, haven't you?
Yeah.
Even without lessons, I mean, just reflect on yourself and your personal health and your well-being, your mental health as well, because it's a mental job. You're sitting there and you're giving somebody responsibility for the vehicle that you paid a lot of money for. All right, you can stop it, but they're still in charge of it, aren't they?
And
And you've got to be able
sometimes
to do
it's
it.
not the ability to stop it that we need. Sometimes it's the ability to make it go that we
Yeah,
need.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, I've just learned to be selfish, but you need to, definitely need to, and
We do,
it's
and it does make the difference when you've got that routine. I had it once upon a time, and then it all went out the window. But what I would like to do now, before we drift off anywhere else, I think I've got some listeners' questions to go through. Do you mind if we go through some of them?
absolutely yeah.
Before we get to listeners' questions, here is your discount code from our sponsors, Knowledgeably Instructor Training. You can use the code MSP10 for 10% off their client-centered learning part 3 and standards check in-person award-winning workshop. That is MSP10 for 10% off. So the first question is from Penny. What have you found the hardest thing since qualifying?
Hardest thing, like I said, discipline, self-discipline more than anything. Try saying no. Obviously, you've got 7 days a week. You want some time to yourself. So if you can't fit them in, you can't fit them in. And it's just been just self-discipline, what we're just talking about, and learning to be a teacher, I suppose, and talking to people. Because, like I said, I've been sitting in a truck for 20 odd years, talking to myself or listening to the radio. So it's just the teaching side of it as well has been hard, but I wouldn't go back to it. I really, really enjoy it immensely. I mean, I love the job. I wish I'd done. It's one of them which I wish I'd done years ago. If I had a time machine, I'd go back 20 years and say to Nigel, I want to be a driving instructor. That's what he means to me now. I'm just so glad I did it now before it was too late.
A nice answer. The next one from Stefan. Any advice of eating healthier between lessons?
Prepare your meals. Don't rely on petrol shop food. When you got the petrol station, it's so easy to I'll just pick a sandwich up, and I'll pick this up, I'll pick that up, and you look at it, you don't know what's in it. I mean, it might say chicken sandwich. How much chicken's in it? And it's eating the right stuff. I always prepare my meals like on the night before or something, or I'll get it prepared so I know what I'm going to have the next day. So if I'm close to home, I'll come home and make some. Or if I'm not, I'll take it out with me in the car. But I don't. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had a Greg's sausage roll or a petrol station sandwich. I can't remember how long it's been. That long. I haven't had them. I'll go to Tesco or something and get a couple of pieces of chicken breast or something, and just have them like that or something like that. That's what I would do. I wouldn't. I don't eat sandwiches or anything like that nowadays.
So what kind of food do you prepare for if
Uh,
you're at home during the day?
if I'm hungry on the day, I'll have some like poached egg on toast with avocado in the morning, and then me and the wife will have we get them. I don't know if you're Gusto meals. So you get a big box of it. It's not pre-packed meals; it's a food, but you prepare it yourself. So you've got 4 meals for the week, so you know exactly what you're going to have. And you can't just go, what do we have for tea now? So these custom meals are really, really good. So it just comes in a big box, and you get all your veg, all your meat, all your ingredients, and they just give you a sheet, and then you just make it from that sheet. And they only take about half an hour, 40 minutes tops, most of them. But it's having something that's healthy every day then. And then Saturday I'll make a chili con carne or something like that, or a curry or spag bol or something. And then Sunday we'll have a chicken dinner or something. But in the week I'll make sure I'm eating healthy. I can't eat rubbish anymore. I don't know what it is, but every time if I eat something, it's sort of, I don't know if it's my head saying you feel guilty, but my stomach doesn't feel right because I'm not used to it. Like before, I'd sit there quite easily eating a bar of dairy milk like that, and you just want one piece, 2 pieces, or a box of Pringles or something. You wouldn't think twice about it. I can't do it anymore. I'm not saying I don't eat chocolate, but not like I used to. Nowhere near like I used
That
to.
changed when you started getting to the gym and kind of taking note of your
Yeah,
health a little.
yeah. I just started looking after myself. Like I said, the mental side of it as well as the physical side of it. And I was having a few health issues, and nothing serious, but obviously it could have been serious if I had to change anything. But ever since then, it's been fine. Like you get up in the middle of the night with indigestion, and you wake up and you're feeling bloated and sick, but since I've changed, it's sleep through the night now, no problem at all. Take some of that magnesium glycinate, little white tablets, 2 of them, boom, gone. Wake up the next morning. It's you've got to prepare your food. You can't just live on sandwiches and Greg's sausage rolls, whatever. Someone's going to give, isn't it?
Yes, it is at the health side of it. When I'm training, especially when I'm in a training camp for a competition or whatever else I'm doing.
Mm.
So on the ball with my food. But as soon as I stop training, it all goes out of the window. And the only thing that I have going for me at the moment is generally I'll fast till 1, 2 o'clock if I need to.
Mm.
And my body's used to not eating until early afternoon.
Yeah,
That avoids me going getting terrible fast food all morning.
yeah.
And yeah, I need to take more note of my fitness and probably improve my diet.
Mm.
This is giving me some inspiration. Whether it's enough or not, I'll find out tomorrow morning when I wake up. But
Well,
hopefully
I mean,
someone gets something
my
from
down
it.
my downfall, I don't drink enough because obviously you know what it's like in our job. You have a drink within half an hour, we need the loo. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And if you're doing an hour or 2 hour lesson, by the time you can guarantee by the time you finish, you're dancing on the seat trying to find a toilet somewhere close. So I am a bit wary when it comes to drinking enough water. I don't think I drink enough fluid, but I'm trying. But it's like holding it in at the same time. It's difficult. You know, you can't teach somebody if you want the loo. I'll try and I'll say, oh, we'll do some bay parking, or just nip to Tesco. But you can't do that on every lesson.
Well, I mean, you say that you can't, and I don't, but I think for the health side of it, we should. Like
Mm,
the risks of not drinking enough water and holding in when you need to go.
mm,
We only get one body.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean,
I
I
can
have drank
say,
more.
but it
Sorry,
doesn't
go on.
mean I do it.
Yeah, I have drank more today, and I've been noticed that because go to the loo a lot long. I've been flying home twice today, just making it.
Yeah, that's
So,
another insight with this job. Make sure you know where all the toilets are.
oh, definitely.
Will certainly help. So, another question. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you have given yourself when looking to start this journey to become a driving instructor?
In what way is that elaborated then? So does that mean like instructors training, or is that what how does it what do they mean by that? What school to go with? Is that what that type of thing?
What advice would you have given yourself when looking to start this journey to become an ADI? Yeah, so go back to that first, I want to be a driving instructor.
Hmm.
What advice now would you give yourself back then? So someone who's in the same position that you was a couple of years ago. I want to be a driving instructor.
Try and get some advice off driving instructors about the job itself. Don't just go into it blind. You've got to. It's like even if you just meet somebody in a car park, because there's plenty of driving instructors in car parks doing parking, and so you just ask them what's the job like, or just like if you. I wouldn't generally go with the biggest one, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't go with a. Doesn't always mean it's the best one. You know, you try and go with an independent one. Get yourself a decent sponsor, and you'll learn a lot more than what you will off the big boys, because my experience is knowing people that's gone with the bigger ones have not been brilliant. I mean, like I said about the earlier on about the online training, you pay for what you get. Like I said, don't always go with the cheapest one. Do your own work, making sure that you like. I know I've listened to your podcast a long time now, and I've noticed it seems to be always the same pattern: is contracts. Make sure you read your contract. I've never had a contract. Never ever had a contract off Nigel, and that's what I like about it. I wouldn't leave. Don't get me. I love the job, and it's the help you get as well in our say, because like there's more. You're not on your own. I don't think I could do this job on my own. I think I would struggle because I like the way it is. But don't always go with it. The big boys aren't always the best boys, if you know what I mean. I mean, I had no intention of going with anybody else. It was Nigel Richards Driving School from day one because he's the only guy I've known a long time, and I know he's a genuine and honest guy. But I would do your homework. Just ask around. There's always somebody in a car park. Get some advice if you're really, really interested in think. Look at what you need to be doing. It's not a case of I can drive, I can teach. It doesn't work that way. I thought I could drive. I thought I could teach. It took me a long time to realize I couldn't. But yeah, do your homework more than anything. Making sure you don't sign on the dotted line for the first one you see.
Often I think people expect when I talk about the training journey that it's not a great training journey, but there are, and it's nice to have people from both sides, people that have had a challenging journey and have managed to find their way, and people that have had, like yourself, a good journey with a good trainer and a good team and have made it through. And it is really difficult because I've had people on the show that have been with a national school and it's worked for them and it's gone really well. And then, like yourself, you've gone with a more local school and it's gone really well for you. So I think that's a good answer that you've given there. And people just need to really do their research and their homework.
Yeah.
It's easy to blame everyone else, but
Well,
the
it's like
journey.
it's like it's when you go on a search engine and you press driving schools near me. The big boys at the top, innit? Little
Yeah.
boys further down, innit? So you don't always go with the big boys because, all right, yes, some people have had good journeys, but the ones I've heard is just horror stories. Like they paid $3,000 and they haven't even been in a car. And I mean, they just sit in a way. They're just selling the company, aren't they? They're just sales reps in a way. They're not.
Yep.
They're not. You're just a number, and you're not going to get the benefit of it by that. So just go down a little bit further down the Google search and see if you can find somebody local. Even if they might be on their own, they might be happy to just take you on as a sponsor. And because I know there's a couple in Wrexham that have actually they've been on their own for a while, but they've just got a couple more driving instructors as well now. So they've got about 2 or 3 on the working for them. So yeah, just look a bit further down than on the Google search and don't go for the top one.
It's an excellent answer. So that's the questions done for today. Before we wrap up the episode, do you have any final messages for people?
Just like to thank yourself just for giving me the opportunity to be on this podcast and keep up the good work, because otherwise I have nothing to listen to in between my lessons. Just thank, no, not really. It's just, like I said, if you want to be a driving instructor, just making sure you do your own work before you jump into the ocean, because it's a big ocean out there, and it's getting bigger. I wish the tests were, but unfortunately they're not. But that's a different story altogether, isn't it?
That is another episode in itself. But yeah, there's some really good messages throughout the episode, and I think that finishing on there that people need to do the research. Absolutely. Go further down the Google listings, speak to as many people as you can, whether it's national, local, independent, whatever it is. Just talk to as many people and find what works for you, because you're going to be spending some time with them. Even if you don't franchise with a trainer, like, there's going to be a lot of time spent together in the car. So make sure that rapport's there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's see where it goes. But for this episode, Cara, I really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very
It's
much. I
been
really enjoyed
a
it.
pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
So thank you to Carl for today's episode, and thank you to our sponsors, Knowledgeably Instructor Training. You can find their award-winning content at www.adikit.co.uk. You could also check out Talking Send with Dr. Julia Malkin, MBE. This is the Patreon service that Carl mentioned through the episode that helped him understand his neurodiverse learners. And the Patreon is a collection of almost 100 videos now to help you understand your learners and how we can help them in the car. And you can find that on Patreon or the Facebook page. Just search for Talking Send with Dr. Julia Malkin, MBE. Thank you.